No, let's do Seahawks Rams first, because the Broncos and Pats is just so
Okay.
hard to put arms around. I feel like there's more
Seahawks.
straightforward one is just this rubber match.
Seahawks -2.5. That's the line on FanDuel. Threatened to be 3 for a while. Settled there. Big question is what we're getting from Sam Darnold. So Shregs is going to tell us right now. How healthy is Sam Darnold? Because I was worried about him last week. I ended up hedging some bets and felt stupid because he was fine.
He threw a pass across his body in the back of the end zone to Jackson Smith-Njigba that I'll put up against any pass that was thrown this entire NFL season as far as just beautiful precision. I would say his oblique is going to be fine. That's now 9 days removed.
Okay.
We went on the pod, you and I, Bill House, you weren't with us. It was the one day you were out and I filled in, and it was after Seattle Rams part 2.
Right.
And that game was unbelievable. I have gone back and watched the first 2 times these teams played. If you were to do a prize fight, which we love talking boxing, and you were to say each quarter counts as a round, Chris Shula's Rams defense was up 7-0 on Clint Kubiak's Seahawks offense. That included all those interceptions from Darnold, 7 interceptions, all that. But then the fourth quarter and overtime of that second game, they started doing play action. They started doing trick plays. There was all sorts of, and Sam Darnold came alive. It's like 7-1 as far as the rounds go, but the rounds that mattered, Seattle at the end there, it's like any issue of like, oh, the Rams defense has dominated Seattle. Like I throw it out the window because they cracked some sort of code there in the fourth quarter and overtime. I think they're going to be okay as far as an offense goes. They showed flashes there in that second game.
So the 2 questions I have on that note: how impactful do you think the Charbonnet loss is, and are we 1,000% confident that Charles Cross is 100% ready to go, no issue whatsoever, not diminished?
Don't know the latter. The former, I will say this because I couldn't tell you the X's and O's of it. I was talking to Orlovsky today, who you see on ESPN all day, every day. He's just an Energizer bunny. But I was with him today, and I said, "Tell me, like Charbonnet." He says the thing that no one will know is, or that no one talks about too often. He's like, I watch all the tape. Kenneth Walker is not a great pass blocker. And that's why Charbonnet's in as much as he is. And in fantasy football, you want to bang your head into the wall. If you're a Kenneth Walker owner, you're like, why is he ever out? So that might be what they're missing more than just the interior runs.
I thought Charbonnet, from an actual running standpoint, was pretty grim. And he was, I think, a very frustrating Seahawk for the fans. But the pass protection stuff is worrisome. Gambling Manifesto. Beware of the looked a little too good the previous round team is just pulsating Seahawks. Like, you can't have a better game than that. And it was actually a little too good of a game. There's some gambling stats about, like, if you blow somebody out like that in a playoff round, what happens the next round. The beware of all dome or warm weather teams playing outdoors in cold weather. I don't think it's going to be cold, right? It'll be okay. Decent. It's not going to be like in the
Seattle, Chicago.
Yeah. Aging QB in cold weather. We don't have to worry about that. The only other one that really stood out to me, because even the coaches one is out. We have 4 really good coaches. Rule number 13, don't dismiss the nerd evidence if the nerd evidence is absolutely overwhelming. I just feel like the Rams special teams has to come back and haunt them in one of these games. This is their third road game in a row. And a road game where you end up in the worst spot in the league for a road game, Seattle. It's the furthest, anywhere. So you're flying, where'd they go? Carolina, they're in the southeast, come back. Then they go to Chicago, come back. Now they're going to the Pacific Northwest, which from LA is in 6 hours. But the 3 road games in a row really worries me. And then the bigger thing, Shregs, I just didn't think the Rams looked that good the last couple games. It was almost like that especially that Rams game, the Rams Seahawks week 16, as they lost steam in that game, they never got the steam back. Thought Carolina could have beaten them. They weren't better, but they could have. And I just thought the Bears were better and should have won the game. I went back and I watched the fourth quarter in the OT. The Bears had it. They're in midfield. They fucking had the ball. They had momentum. They had everything.
How about McVay not letting Stafford throw the ball in overtime, first drive, 3 runs in a row?
It's
How
weird.
about 2 minutes?
Everybody.
2 minutes, 8 seconds left, and they decide to run the ball and they call a timeout before the 2-minute warning.
Right.
Sean openly, I talked to him afterwards. He openly was like mortified with the way he called that game. And he's like, the players bailed me out. Like Mevis bailed me out. And Cam Curl, former Washington commander, bailed me out.
Incredible. Don't think that was lost on me.
Forbes.
So we're sure the Rams defense is that good?
No.
Because the advanced metrics like it a lot more than my eye test has liked it, dating back to that Week 16 game. It feels like teams are now just going up and down the field on them. Fucking Bryce Young was doing it. So we have all these, we have the advanced stats, and it's like a 4-month sample size. I feel like they're a team that's running out of steam a little bit.
When you need it most, on a third down, McVay calls timeout. He talks to Stafford. They see the hot route.
No, I'm talking about defense, not offense.
I know. I'm saying when you need it most, though, their defense came up with the interception.
Yeah.
And then
it was a terrible miscommunication play, and a play that I'm not sure why you're trying to get to the 20-yard line when you need to get to the 38.
And they weren't being stopped on. And Caleb Williams used his legs, got two first downs.
Use your legs, throw it to the tight end for 5 yards, do a design scramble. If I was a Bears fan, that game as the weeks passed. House, let me throw this at you. The Rams, who have been an awesome offense, they a little slow to you? Like a great defense like the Seahawks. And I think that at home, I think we can give them the great tag. Not like 2000 Ravens great, but really, really up there. And I don't think they really have any.
The way they defend the run gets great.
They don't have any weaknesses. And the Rams, the way they do it, it's methodical. You go down the field and then hope Puka can break a play. They're not getting the long plays like they used to. And I don't really know who their speed guy is.
Well, it's Tutu Atwell, and he didn't dress last game.
Right. And then Puka, like you look at the game, he was like 5 for 50 last week. Their biggest play that anyone made was Parkinson on a little tight end route. And I just wonder, are the Seahawks going to move everybody up and basically dare the Rams to go over the top and attack and hit Puka and just kind of keep everybody in front of them and just make it a game where it's going to have to be 12-play drives to go down the field on them?
So I thought where you were going with this when you started, and I actually quite like it as I'm thinking about it, is are we waiting on the Rams to go up tempo? Like this methodical bit that you're talking about.
I don't think you can do that in Seattle.
But they did it in overtime. That's what they did in overtime.
True.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Tough for 3 hours. And tough
with that crowd.
Tough in that cold.
Let me throw another thing at you. Stafford doesn't look 100% healthy to me at this point, and I think had a couple really hard games there. Adams, we know, isn't 100%. And Puka has taken more hits this year than anyone else in the league, and now has to go against the Seattle defense.
And Forbes went down with the hamstring. He'll play, but that's real.
I think that there's a lot of miles that have added up on this Rams team that makes me really nervous about them on the road. I think the line should be 3. What do you think the line should be, House?
I'm listening.
Go ahead.
I'll give you another little Schrager side note, fact, anecdote type deal.
Schrader's side notes.
That's good. That's it. Not notes.
Not for Pete's sake.
Not for Pete's sake. Not this one. Very difficult conversations they had internally after the season. And they were like, it's time to move on from Cooper Kupp, who is a beloved Ram, Triple Crown winner, Super Bowl MVP. And they basically told Cooper, like, we're not going to pay you what you were making, and you're free to go explore. He was a free agent for quite a bit, a couple days. There were no real takers. The Seahawks paid him a lot of money, and they're like, we got a spot for you. Meanwhile, the Rams used all that money and paid Devontae Adams. It looked great for the Rams all season long. Cooper Kupp's a competitor. Keep that in mind. Ernest Jones, Super Bowl hero from the Rams. They said, this isn't working here. They moved on from him. He had a nice little couple years, whatever, in Tennessee. Then he's become like the Seahawks' best linebacker. And he is a vocal player, and he is a super spirited guy. I love revenge stuff. I love all that.
You know I do.
Cooper Kupp, Ernest Jones, just put those two out there.
Ernest Jones cost me so much money because when the Rams moved away from him,
Let's roll, baby. Welcome in. It is the Championship Sunday edition of the Ringer Sunday pregame. Rocking and rolling on YouTube, of course, on the FanDuel Sports Network. John Jastremski, snowed in, not in our New York studios, in my bunker down compound. Today's Ringer Sunday pregame show is brought to you by FanDuel, where we are live on the FanDuel Sports Network. Odds subject to change. Let's welcome in the wise guy, shall we? John Jastremski alongside Joe House, who is very cozy, doing his best Bill Walton impression down in Washington, D.C. Raheem the Dream Palmer, our 2025 Wise Wager Trophy winner. I look forward to seeing the trophy in Las Vegas when I make my way out there. And, of course, the hardest working man in showbiz, Cousin Sal in Los Angeles. Sally, I know I'm snowed in. It stinks. I'm not in our beautiful New York City studios. I'm in my bunker down compound. But you, sir, may have it even in a worse spot today, because not only do you have to do the show, not only do you have to dread the possibility of nonstop Patriot giddiness, no, it's more nonstop Patriot giddiness. So you're going to be okay.
Yes, in a way, you should envy me and Raheem and producer Jack, because we're wearing shorts. I think Raheem's actually wearing a Speedo. I don't know if he wants to stand up, because before the game, I could dip my toes in the Pacific Ocean. But then it is just, like you said, misery, JJ. I'm not looking forward to tonight. Patriots this, Patriots that. I might just take a Xanax and try to doze off around 7 o'clock p.m.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure the Netflix audience is going to be in for a treat one way or another. It's either you, very giddy, celebrating the fact the Patriots are out, or our compadre, Mr. Simmons, celebrating yet another trip to a Super Bowl. You know, Raheem, it's funny. We did all of these pods leading up to the start of the football season, and I love telling people that Championship Sunday is really the last real football Sunday of the year, because we have two games. It doesn't feature the amateur audience, and the Rams being in Championship Sunday, not a surprise. The Broncos, who we were very high on at the beginning of the year, can't say it's a surprise. Patriots and Seattle. You think about where we were in the summertime, buddy boy. These teams are playing Championship Sunday. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, we were dead wrong about Seattle. We thought that the Seattle Seahawks with Sam Darnold and a bad offensive line, they wouldn't make any noise at all. But it's clear that they have one of the best defenses in the league, and Darnold has been much better than Geno Smith. And then when it comes to the New England Patriots, we knew that Mike Vrabel was going to make an impact, but we did not know that Drake May was going to make the leap that he's made this quickly. And by October, I was saying things like Drake May is going to win a Super Bowl before Josh Allen, and it looks like that has a chance of happening this year.
Crazy to say, Josh Allen still trying to get to that first Super Bowl. Drake May, a favorite in a game in Denver, which we will get to momentarily. House, I got to know, though. Were you hanging with the Grateful Dead this weekend? Was there are you like the new honorary member of the Grateful Dead with that wonderful, wonderful getup? You look cozy. Are you getting as bad a snow forecast as what we're dealing with in New York City? I'm dying to know.
I think we did okay here in D.C. It went from snow to sleet. I'm going to wait till tomorrow to shovel. I'm not doing anything. You can tell how comfortable I am. I put myself in a very cozy frame of mind. And I'm not just saying that because I bet the L.A. Rams to beat the New England Patriots at plus 420.
Ooh, juicy.
On the FanDuel Sportsbook.
House looks like a Beanie Baby my niece owned, the specialized collectible Beanie Baby, and back in '98
I
or
remember the
something.
Beanie Baby, Sal.
Yeah,
Remember Beanie Baby Day at Yankee Stadium was David Wells' perfect game in 1998.
Nice.
I did not expect to work that fun fact into the Ringer Sunday pregame, but quite frankly, fellas, you never know what you're getting when you watch and you enjoy the Ringer Sunday pregame. Get you ready for all the action, hopefully with all the winners. And I hope you enjoyed my little weather forecast that we did on our social feeds. Okay, let's not filibuster any longer. AFC Championship game. New England, a 3.5-point favorite against the Denver Broncos. We know the narrative. We know the storyline, Sally Boy. Bo Nix got hurt. Second to last play against the Buffalo Bills. Out for the remainder of the year. In comes Stiddy. Jarrett Stidham will be the Denver Bronco quarterback. Wild to think about an AFC Championship game when we haven't seen Stidham at any point this year. He'll be rocking. He'll be rolling with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. New England, they were as high as 5.5 when this line came out last week. We have seen some Denver money come in, and now it is down to 3.5. So here's what America is wondering, Sal. Is this your head or your heart talking with this pick because we all know that Denver money line is the play that you would prefer going into our podcast with Simmons later on this evening. But you got to give us the truth. We want the truth, cousin Sal. What's the pick? What's it going to be?
Well, it's my heart and probably most of my colon speaking here. But good news for Bill Simmons and mass holes everywhere. I'm 0 for 2 picking against the New England Patriots in the playoffs. And I'm going back to the well. You said it, JJ. Denver plus 3.5. I'm going to try to sound smart and talk about a market overcorrection, plus 3.5 from what we think would have been minus 1.5 with Knicks. A 5-point difference between Knicks and Stidham. I don't think it should be that much. There was a time where the greatest differences would be like 6 and then 7 points, and that's only if it involved Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers going to the backup there. So people comparing Stidham, though, to Knicks, how about we just compare Stidham to C.J. Stroud? How about the idea that if Stidham doesn't throw 4 interceptions, the Broncos have a real shot here? And I know Drake maybe is going to hit on a few deep passes. We know that. But he's also going to see a lot of pressure. The Pats have allowed 58 sacks. The Broncos' defense is not going to cooperate. 71 sacks this season, including last week. So maybe I'm grasping at straws, JJ, and this is just New England's year to roll over inferior foes and quarterbacks and take advantage of any and all NFL catastrophes. But I'm taking the points. I'm hoping for the best. Let's do this, Stidham. Let's step up Denver defense. Let's plant Drake maybe into the turf for 3 hours, and that way you're not responsible for the next evil dynasty. Orange Crush 23, Cheatriots 20. Take the 3.5, JJ.
Wow, not only the 3.5, Sal, if you can read his language there, getting a little frisky perhaps with Denver on the money line. Love that. Okay, Raheem, we talked about this throughout the course of the week on our Ringer Gambling pods. The idea of the overreaction that Sal is kind of all over when it comes from Bo Nix being out, Jared Stidham being in. Line got as high as 5.5, but it's not 5.5 anymore. It's now 3.5. And you look at this game, and all of a sudden, it's an opportunity to pounce. So how you playing Patriot? Bronco, my man.
Okay, so you look at this line, and before the injury to Bo Nix, you were looking at Denver minus 2.5, maybe even 1.5. And now we sit at Patriots minus 3.5. Now, let me remind everybody, the Patriots are 14-3 this season, 12-5 against the spread. They're also 8-0 straight up and 7-1 against the spread. This team has been overperforming the market all season long. So throw away the models. Throw away all of the over-adjustment. This is the fake sharp game of the year. Matter of fact, it's the fake sharp game of the century. Like, everybody's going to pretend to be Billy Walters and Haralabah Voulgaris and Alan Boston and all these great gamblers, and you're going to war with Jared Stidham. And you're going to war with the Denver Broncos defense, which is completely fallen off a cliff the second half of the year. They are 13th in EPA per play the second half of the year and in the playoffs. They gave up 26 points to the Packers. Before the Packers, everybody got hurt. The Jaguars lit them up for 34 points. Trevor Lawrence threw all over this Broncos defense. And then Josh Allen had 4 turnovers, and he still scored 30 points in regulation with 4 turnovers. So you look at this Broncos defense, they're very overrated. And you're going up against Drake May, who is arguably the NFL's MVP. You look at this Broncos team. They beat the Raiders 10-7. They beat the Jets 13-11. The Jets. They beat the Titans 20-12. They beat Marcus Mariota-led Commanders 27-26, and if it wasn't for the 2-point conversion being stopped, they would have lost that game. They needed a comeback against the Giants to win 33-32, and then they struggled against the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes. This is a New England Patriots spot. I know it's public, but you got to lay it with the Patriots. Jared Stidham, he really struggles against the blitz. If you look at what he's done against the blitz, he was just 7 for 17, 86 yards, 2 sacks, and a negative EPA per play. And in the Patriots, they're blitzing opposing teams on 38% of their dropbacks, second highest in the postseason. The Patriots might even win this by 10 points or more. I'm landing with them.
I love the terminology, Raheem. The fake sharp game of the year. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I have some thoughts on that, which we will get to momentarily. I had to think of a creative way, House, to play this game because clearly I'm not getting the best of the number when it comes to taking the Denver Broncos. But that Patriots side seems incredibly stinky from a spread perspective. You, sir, always like getting creative with these games. Draw it out for me.
Yeah, I feel like we got rope-a-doped here because the line opening up at 5.5 had all of us focused on, wait a minute, what the hell's going on here? Is the difference between Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham really 7 points or whatever? And we spent the whole week trying to figure that out. And all of our brethren in the commentariat world were out there trying to measure the Stidham impact and look at the Stidham 2 years ago and how did he do with, against the blitz and how did he do with perfect, protection. We were wasting our time. The line settled at a line that's perfectly reasonable. And if it had opened at 3.5, then I probably would have played it. But I got spooked. So now I'm just playing the Patriots money line. But I'm not going to come in here on a Sunday and give out a -200 play. I do think that the Patriots are going to win this football game. Raheem just made the case. But here's the caution. Drake May has not looked good. Two playoff games. He had his worst from EPA and success against Houston and his 5th worst against the Chargers because both those teams could bring pressure. He felt uneasy back there. He was susceptible to strip sacks. And we have this great unknown with Jarrett Stidham on the other side of the ball. So the way I'm playing this is Patriots on the money line parlayed with the Denver Broncos getting 7.5 points in the first half. That's a +124 play. You can do it on the FanDuel Sportsbook. And I'm taking advantage of the brilliance of Sean Payton. Everybody talks about it with backup quarterbacks. He's 14-7 straight up with backup quarterbacks. Stidham has demonstrated some capacity for success. The Denver offense is susceptible to a quarterback. They don't throw it deep downfield. They're not so Bo Nix dependent in terms of getting vertical. So I think this game opens up with a little bit of, speaking of rope-a-dope, some trickery coming from Denver. They can't establish the run. They don't want to try and run the football, and the Patriots are tremendous against the run. But I do think that there will be some, these sweeps with the receivers coming through the backfield, and I think it will be a close first half. So that is why I'm playing it this first half. Denver within a touchdown, Patriots to win +124.
Can I say something, JJ?
Yes,
I love that. I love that parlay. Not that parlay itself because he has the Patriots winning, but I love the fact that you are able to parlay an alt spread for the one team in the first half and then the other team to win. Do you realize if you tried to do this 20 years ago in Vegas, they would laugh you out of the sports book.
No, you
the
wouldn't be
clerks
able
would
to
laugh. They would call the cigarette girl over, would point and laugh at you. Everything would go on. God bless your house. God bless the USA.
I feel like uncut gems changed the game.
I think so. Yeah.
It's because Mike Francesa was in the movie, clearly,
Right.
That's
no doubt
why.
about it.
Forget about Sandler. Forget about the Safdie brothers. Mike. Big Mike. That's it. He's everything. He's my guy. Now, I counter you, Joe House, from one parlay to another. An alt spread parlay, but not quite as creative as Joe House. I'm taking the Denver Broncos +10.5. We're going to take that number. We're going to tease it up. Why? House hit on the fact that Sean Payton is super experienced working with backup quarterbacks. He had success with Jameis Winston. He had success with Teddy Bridgewater. We saw Taysom Hill be able to run competent, successful NFL offenses. And it's not like the Denver Broncos all of a sudden now are losing Josh Allen or losing Matthew Stafford. We're talking about Bo Nix, who is a quarterback that we have questioned for a good majority of this season. So I think keeping this game within 10.5 is reasonable. I also like an alt over here, boys, over 38.5. Raheem hit on the fact that this Denver defense is incredibly overrated. You can make big plays against this Denver defense. We saw the Jacksonville Jaguars do it in the regular season. We saw Buffalo do it clearly last week. Buffalo would have won that game if they could have just held on to the football. And then you throw in the fact that, hey, New England's defense, for as good as it has looked in these first two games, now on the road in a place, historically speaking, they haven't had a whole lot of success. And I think a whole lot of the betting market is going to look at the total and say, hey, backup quarterback in. New England's defense has been flexing the first 2 weeks of the playoffs. Play the under. We'll go the other way here. Denver +10.5. Over South 38.5. Can I get you on board?
Yeah, I said 23-20. You already won. Congratulations. Spend the money.
There we go. I didn't realize what that final score might have been. Raheem, I know you liked the over low-key earlier this week. Has that changed at all over the last few days or no?
I'm still leaning that direction. I mean, but here's the thing. This is a market. You got to understand, when I did like it, it was like 42. Now we're looking at 43.5. I mean, it's not much. It's not that big of a difference, but there's still a difference there. So at 43, I mean, it's okay, but it's obviously gotten steamed up some, since we liked it on Thursday.
House, I got to say, I'm proud of you. Thank goodness you didn't give out minus 200 for the show as you play for this particular game. But, in all seriousness, when you don't love a side, and the next game we'll get to, I like this side a lot more in the NFC title game, you kind of have to find creative ways to play these playoff games. And that's kind of where I came down on Denver and New England. I think this game will be closer than you think. I don't love the 3.5. I don't love getting the best of the number. So I give you a parlay. Let's go.
Yeah, I didn't mind your parlay. I mean, 10.5 is kind of a wacky number, but I definitely agree with the direction of an over 38.5. I think this is going to go over the 42 that it opened at, the 43.5 that it's sitting at right now. I think these teams will be able to move the ball, and there should be some short field kind of opportunities here. Part of how the Patriots, were so successful last week against Houston. I do think that they're going to get to Stidham. Stidham is, falls off a cliff under pressure. So let's see how it lines up.
Can we say this? I nobody wants to hear this. I'm locked into my Denver pick, whatever. But is it possible that analysis leads to paralysis? And we've had 6.5 days to convince ourselves that Stidham's not that bad. Whereas we're used to guys picking 16 games. We don't have that much time. We can't afford that much time to kind of commiserate over one game for this long amount of time. So that could be the case here. I hate to say.
Interesting.
I mean, that's
why
definitely the
Raheem keeps
case.
calling it the fifth short game of the year
as well. So
Yeah. I'm going to do.
Bottom line, let's all hit these bets. At least the best that we can. Now, guess what? We can, because Sal and Raheem are heads up, mano-y-mano. So, Joe House, our side of the screen, how about the two of us hit our bets? We know that can happen.
That sounds perfect. Yeah. And the people will love it.
Coming up, boys, our pal, Sal, you spend every Tuesday with him. You also can check him out on the Ringer tailgate, and he is our best golfer in the Ringer family. Joe House, you're number 2. It's okay. I still love you. Nothing wrong with number 2. Tate Frazier, AFC title game. Give me a guest pick, baby.
What's up, guys? Tate Frazier here, making a pick. Again, this is Drake May season. Drake May trying to do something that Tom Brady did back in 2001, go from less than 5 wins to the Super Bowl. A lot of expectations on this Patriots team, but for whatever reason, I don't know. I got that O's the Mentalist with the Rams video in my mind a little bit, so I feel like why not take the Denver Broncos in this game? Why not fade what the public expects in this game? I obviously personally will be rooting for Drake May. I will be happy for Drake May to make the Super Bowl, but why not take a chance here? Let's take a swing. What did O's the Mentalist say? 23-14 Super Bowl, Rams over Broncos. You can parlay those two together, or you can just take the Broncos money line plus 176. I also like RJ Harvey anytime touchdown plus 125. Also like Stephon Diggs anytime touchdown plus 220. And maybe even Hunter Henry anytime touchdown plus 195. I don't know. Find something within those many bets I just threw out to you. But again, I kind of like the Broncos to maybe win this game just because it's at home, Mile High City. Altitude plays a part. Again, O's the Mentalist seems to know everything, and I think he might know something here. So Rams Broncos is his pick. Why not take the Broncos plus 176? Hope everybody has a good day, and I hope Drake May plays some good football.
Wow. Look at our boy Tate there. With one shining Super Bowl goes Denver Rams, which is the only matchup that's not a rematch, right, JJ? Good for you, Tate.
Yeah, and I would sign up for that because Seahawk Bronco was one of the worst Super Bowls I've ever watched.
Oh, yeah.
Patriots Seahawks, despite the fact that I made money on it and I was happy about the outcome, the ending was so disgusting and so distasteful. I don't need to see the Malcolm Butler play on repeat now for the next, 2 weeks, as long as we're sitting there waiting for this game to be played in Santa Clara. So, yeah, give me the idea of new blood with Ram Bronco, at least a game that we have not seen.
Everybody at the Ringer is trying to antagonize Bill at this point in time. That's my theory.
I'm not trying to antagonize. I'm trying to win money. You got to understand something, Raheem. It's not just our pal, Mr. Simmons. I went to school at Syracuse, and I live next to a couple of guys that are dear friends of mine. They're great guys. Yeah. But they are the most insufferable,
awful people,
Patriot fans on the planet.
Yep.
And Sal, I think this is going to sound like a loser mentality for me because my teams have been nothing but losers other than the Yankees in the 1990s. But the idea that the Patriots could go through what they went through with Brady and Belichick, come out of it 2 years later and be back in the Super Bowl when my team hasn't won a playoff game in 25 years. Your team hasn't been in a conference championship since 1996. House, I mean, you're waiting forever for a Super Bowl. Raheem, same boat. It's horrible. It's horrible.
And they whiffed on the first round quarterback after Belichick and Brady, and they're still back to the getting there. This is disgusting to me. Let's go to commercial. Oh, no, we got other things to do.
We can't do that because we have to give out some juicy playoff props on the Patriots and on the Broncos. And thank you, New York Giants, by the way, a few years ago for winning that meaningless game against the Patriots with Tommy DeVito, which put Drake May in a position to be Patriot quarterback. Yeah. Well, here we are, Joe House. Drake May is the New England Patriot quarterback, and you're going to be betting one of his props on Championship Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going back to the well with this one. I played Drake May over his rushing yard total last week and did not get there. And honestly, it was kind of mystifying why he stood back in the pocket and let the pocket collapse and got strip sacked a handful of times. We keep seeing the susceptibility. I keep using that word, but I think it's the right word, of this New England offensive line to give up pressure. And here we are going on the road against a Denver team that is one of the tops of the entire NFL pressure-wise. I think we're in a tuck and run mode, especially on the left side of that New England line. The line here is 29.5 rushing yards. Drake May's gone over that total in 5 of his past 6 games. I think we could be in a game state where if the Broncos are moving the ball and the defense is slowing down May, and we see a couple of incompletions out of the Pats pass game, then we're just going to get a tuck and run or 2 out of May. He can get this with 2 runs. So Drake May over 29.5 rushing yards is my favorite prop of the day.
I absolutely love it, House. It's one that has treated us very kindly in a whole lot of these playoff games. It was all over it going back to Wild Card Weekend when they took on the Los Angeles Chargers, parlayed that with Justin Herbert. Never a doubt, never a sweat. I think you go home to the window a winner. Speaking of winners, Raheem, I think you might be the new kicker in the replacements because you literally now are giving me a field goal prop. It feels like week after week after week, but no one's going to complain about consistency if it consistently wins, Dream. So is that the way to look at the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, I love kicker props when it comes to the postseason, and we're going to go back to the well again. We're going to go with the Broncos, 2+ made field goals, -145. You look at the Broncos this season, 20th in red zone touchdown percentage, converting 55% of their 61 red zone trips into touchdowns. So that means you're looking around 45% of the time, they're kicking a field goal. And I think with a backup quarterback who hasn't started since 2023, you're going to see some stall drives which lead to field goals. I also think they might take the points a little bit more because they have a backup quarterback. So let's go with Broncos 2+ made field goals, -145.
I like it, Raheem. Now, Sal, you tend to look at defensive players. I feel like this has been your calling card as we move deeper into the postseason. We don't have as many games to choose from. Who are you eyeing on the Denver defense to go and get a sack?
You know, there's a fellow by the name of Zach Allen. I have him to record a sack at +148. We saw Drake Maybe crumble to the turf 5 times last week. He fumbled the ball several times against Houston. I, for one, don't think he's headed to Canton this summer, anytime soon, or this summer even. So now up against a more formidable front 7 in Denver, maybe falling off like Raheem says the last few weeks, but they did lead the league in sacks with 68 and then added another 3 versus Buffalo last week. And a lot of that is due to Zach Allen, who figured in one of those +7 during the regular season. He's a healthy +148 to dump maybe. Who's going to stop him? Will Campbell? That's a joke. Everyone laugh with me. Ha ha. Not happening. Zach Allen, Boston College alum, flexing versus the local team. Take him at +148.
Sal, I love you. I can't get on board with the forced laughter. I can't do it. I know you did this for years at the Jimmy Kimmel show where they'd, put up the signs and it's like
How
applause.
Dare you? How dare you?
Shots.
What are you?
Not
What are you
genuine.
He's
I-
asking me to laugh.
I hope your tongue
Man,
gets
you
frostbit,
taking sides
JJ.
against the family, JJ.
Good Lord.
Listen, I love the
What
Jimmy
hell
Kimmel
is
show.
that?
I was there in Brooklyn. I'm a
Don't take the sack
card-carrying
prop. What the
member.
hell do I care if
I
you
just
take
don't
the
like
sack
being
prop
told
or
to
not?
clap. I don't like being
Good
told to
Lord.
laugh. I'm not a monkey.
Tell us about little Jordan Humphreys. Go ahead.
I'm
We'll
going
laugh
to.
about
Guess what?
that. That's good.
Backup quarterback Sal like throwing to backup wide receivers. Will Jordan Humphreys probably spend a whole lot of time with Jarrett Stidham working with the number twos. You know what else I know? Christian Gonzalez is going to lock down Cortland Sutton. He is going to be a non-factor in this game. Will Jordan Humphreys came alive last week against the Buffalo Bills, and I'm getting plus money like you are with Mr. Allen at plus 148. I'll do you one better at plus 194. Little Jordan Humphreys is going to be stunned like his daddy. No, not Little Wayne. Little Jordan Humphreys, 20 plus receiving yards at plus 194. Raheem, I know you like that one.
I do like that one, and it's driving me crazy because I did not know that Little Jordan Humphrey was his real name. I thought this was just
No, real name. And that's why you have to bet him on Championship Sunday. All the more reason, you know?
I think I'm going to tell that one just on the strength.
I appreciate it. Sal, by the way, do I look like a guy that likes to be told what to do? I don't like to be told that.
Why are you making such a big deal out of this? I just, it was an aside, JJ.
You wanted to laugh. You're a funny guy. You're
JJ,
very
we'll
funny.
talk about
I laugh
Comedy
at a lot of your
101 during the
jokes,
break.
but I can't be told to
I wasn't
laugh.
singling you out to laugh at anything. It was a wrap-up line. God forbid you roll with anything. Go ahead. Let's go to the next one.
I tried. Listen, I got Sal riled up. I got him
My
fired up.
God,
That's what we do.
what is this about?
We only have 2 games to talk about on Championship Sunday.
That's
I can
true.
dissect a little bit more and get a little bit more out of you. Anyway, let's go to Championship Specials and player milestones. Some of these are outrageous. Sal, you're giving us the most outrageous, and I like this one a lot. Take it away.
Okay, don't laugh, JJ. Whatever you do, don't laugh, because I don't want to put you in a weird spot here. This is called the Triple Crown here, and it's on the championship specials. Most passing, most receiving, most rushing yards. I'm going to go Drake May, Puka Nacua, and Kenneth Walker. Look, I'm old enough to remember when we called these OMGs, guys, right? Anything 20-1 or more or less than that. So I'm going to call it, we're running out of effing games, so let's have some fun. This prop, you could pick a leader at each position. Drake May, most passing yards. Look, I could bemoan his success all I want, but 4,400 yards, 29 pass attempts averaged over his last 5. I think he gets there. Let's go Puka to have the most receiving yards. 300 versus Seattle this year. And we'll do Kenneth Walker. He's the workhorse back there. No Charbonnet to lean on. Already has a 100-yard game against the Rams. That threesome pays 20-1. You can mix and match. We're playing a little roulette here. You want to stack it with Stafford and Puka and then add Harvey or Travion. Mix and match. Have some fun. Go nuts. It's all going to be over soon.
20-1. I'm not laughing at this one, Sal. Sounds like a winner. How about that?
I like it. Thank you.
Thank
you for cooperating.
See, I'm back on his good side. That's it. Back on his good side. There you go. All right. Running backs. Joe House, you anticipate they're going to have a big theme come Championship Sunday, and we can capitalize. How is the way you are looking specifically at all of the running backs playing here in these 2 games?
Well, I have a little bit of an inferiority complex coming into this. The Cuz gives out a giant 20-1, and here I am down here in 5-1 land.
Oh, it's fine.
But here's the correction, JJ. This particular special bet does not require running backs to score, and that's important. What we're looking at is each team to score 1 or more rushing touchdowns in both of the games, and the team that is least likely to score a running touchdown is the Denver Broncos because they don't have a running game to speak of. But they do have a quarterback who, if you look back at some of his, resume 5, 6, 7 years ago, he's been in the league since 2019. Jarrett Stidham to run into the end zone is plus 440 right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook. What I don't have to just rely on him. I think he's the most likely. Plus 490. I'm not worried about Seattle or LA getting their rushing touchdowns. And I think New England's got 3 or 4 different ways to get a rushing touchdown. Denver's the one I'm worried about. Plus 490. Maybe Stidham.
Got me up. A little under 5-1. A whole lot of ground game for all 4 of these teams. Okay, Raheem. Ramondre Stevenson was a guy that a lot of Patriot fans wanted cut at the beginning of the year. You, sir, have identified this resurgent player as someone that you want to get on board with to go and have a big Sunday for New England. Is that right?
Yes, I'm going to go with Ramondre Stevenson. Most rushing yards plus 650. Now, if you look at this market, Kenneth Walker is the odds-on favorite at minus 115. I think that's priced poorly, considering that the Rams can slow down the run. And then they also noted that the Seahawks are going to be running the ball because Sam Darnold's oblique injury. So you got to get him out of there. Then if you look at Kyron Williams, he's at plus 470, and he's in a split backfield with Blake Corum. So Ramondre Stevenson at plus 650, I think you're getting a ton of value against a Broncos defense, which ranks 14th in the NFL in EPA per play against the run. Now, let me remind you, last week, James Cook rushed 24 times for 117 yards last week. And also, I think you have another out here, because if this is a blowout and the Patriots can just get ahead, let's say they get ahead 10 points or, 7 points or, 13 points, we could see Ramondre Stevenson running the ball a ton just to kill some clock. So I think at plus 650 for most rushing yards on Championship Sunday, I think this is a good bet right here.
I think it's a good bet, but I'm going to give you a counter, Raheem. What about Trevion Henderson at 16-1? Because to me, Denver a little bit more susceptible to the home run ball as far as a running back breaking into the outside, the way James Cook was able to go and get to the outside. Henderson could do that. He breaks off a 70 or an 80-yard run, he's probably going to be the guy to go and bring this title home. But he's not going to get as many carries as Ramondre Stevenson. And then obviously Kenneth Walker is going to play a role in this for the Seattle Seahawks. So that was one I had an eye on. I actually like both of the running backs for the Patriots. I think you can play both, maybe hit one of them, and have yourself a successful
we're talking
Sunday.
about lottery tickets. So if you can play both of them, and I think you find yourself with a decent edge. So
like the sound of that. I'll give you one more. Sal, I know you're going to love this one. I'm going back to the anytime touchdown well. And I'm not giving this one out as a family meal because it's way too juicy, and it's probably a little bit of a long shot. Little Jordan Humphrey, who scored last week for Denver, 13-1. Boosted it on FanDuel, Sal, with an anytime touchdown boost. Little over 16-1. Come on. 16-1?
Wow. I like it. Nothing little about him. He should have had 2 last week. Why not? Someone's got to figure into this offense.
And if you're going to take away Cortland Sutton, you know what? Maybe there are opportunities. Coming up on this Loaded Ringer Sunday pregame, I will laugh when Sal tells me to laugh. You know what else we'll do? We'll nail Rams, Seahawks, the game of the year. The winner is winning the Super Bowl. Who do the wise guys got? We're coming right back.
So I was thinking that this is a win-win for Broncos fans, because hear me out here. I think if Jared Stidham plays well and they win, they're in the Super Bowl. That's great. They're not complaining about anything. If Jared Stidham plays horribly, now they can come at everyone who says, well, some version of kind of what you implied there, that, Bo Nix has played well, but he's not the thing that drives this Broncos team, drives this offense. So if it looks like, oh my gosh, this offense looks totally lost without Bo Nix, now, all right, they're not in the Super Bowl, but they can say, hey, we got our guy. He is making a difference, and none of you know ball. What do you think about that? I think the Broncos fans, it's a win-win. So if you're sad about the Bo Nix injury, which you have a right to be, look at it my way. Good things coming your way on Sunday either way.
I think at the end of the 2022 season, Tua Tagovailoa got hurt and Skylar Thompson played a game for the Miami Dolphins, and they lost that game in the postseason, wildcard round of the Bills. And the Teddy Bridgewater reps are bad, and every single Dolphins fan said, "Oh, you told me that Tua is just a product of the offense, and it's all Mike McDaniel. And look, the offense sucks when the backups are in there." And I was okay. Let's check in with me in 2 years, and here we are 2 years later. There is a difference between like how good is the quarterback qualitatively, how well is he playing within the offense, and where do I rank this guy among the league quarterbacks, right? So the thing with Nix is like, I have never had an issue with what Nix does for the Broncos offense in terms of execution, right? A lot of the sack avoidance stuff is huge for how they want to play. He throws really nicely on the move, and he creates throws. He's a quick distributor. He's generally accurate in the short areas. Like what they ask him to do, he is good at doing that. He knows how to play within himself, and he largely doesn't have spiraling fall apart games. Even his bad games, like that Raiders Thursday night game he played, he still did well enough to avoid turnovers, keep the field position battle fine, rely on the defense and win the ball game. So there's that aspect. And then when you widen the scope, because what inevitably ends up happening is this quarterback is successful when he's young guys. Broncos fans start saying all right, why do you think that, Caleb Williams is better than this guy? Why do you guys rank Justin Herbert above this guy? And that's where you lose me, just because we're starting to talk about different quarterbacks in different environments and being asked to do different things. So with Nix and this game as a referendum, I think there's a lot of worlds where Stidham walks in and it looks 80% is operable. And that's because Sean Payton's really good at his job, because Stidham's a solid quarterback, and because the system is generally kind of, QB agnostic. There's also plenty of worlds where Stidham walks in, takes 4 sacks, throws 2 picks, and they lose because he's a backup quarterback playing in the AFC Championship game, right? The book on Knicks will not be written, and there'll not be a period and pen at the end of it because of 1, maybe 2 games in the 2025-26 postseason.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go. 2 years into his career, obviously, great drive down the stretch there, great deep ball down the stretch there, and had his team in the NFC Championship here in his second season.
Final hour, Ringer Sunday pregame with the Wise Guys right here on YouTube, of course, on the FanDuel Sports Network. John Jastremski in Snowden, New York City. Cousin Sal in beautiful Los Angeles. Raheem the Dream in Vegas. And Joe House in Washington, D.C. Fellas, 1 down, 1 to go. Let's get to the game that, to me, is the marquee event of the night. Sorry, Simmons. It is clearly Rams-Seahawks, a rematch of the game of the year that we saw on Thursday night about a month and a half ago. It was a dramatic Seattle 16-point comeback. It had a wacky 2-point play. It had Sam Darnold's signature career moment in overtime. Puka Nacua went nuts. If this game can be 3/4 or half of what we saw on that Thursday night, I think we're in for quite a treat. Now, Dream, first matchup, Seattle dominated the game. Sam Darnold threw a bunch of interceptions and turnovers. Rams won. Second time around, Rams dominated the game. Special teams, couple weird plays cost them. That ended up being the difference in the game. It's a rubber match. Seahawks-Rams, who's it going to be?
I'm laying it with the Seattle Seahawks. And when I look at this game, let's look at the series as a whole. The point differential is 58-57 Rams. The Seahawks have had 7 turnovers. 7 turnovers. The Rams have had 1. And yet the point differential is 58-57. And you look at this Rams team, they don't appear to be the same team that they were earlier on in the year. Since week 15, Matthew Stafford has a 5.4% turnover-worthy throw rate. And the defense has completely fallen off of a cliff. Let me remind you guys, the Rams had their bye during week 8. Since week 13, they've played 6 out of their last 8 games on the road, including 2 straight. And they're 0-2 against the spread in the postseason with a pair of 3-point wins. And they probably should have lost both of those games. Now you got to take on a Seattle Seahawks defense, which have allowed 5 touchdowns on 71 drives since week 13. They aren't allowing touchdowns. So the reason why everyone wants to bet the Rams and everybody thinks that the Rams are the better team is because of their offense, but the offense is kind of falling off a cliff, and so has the defense. Let me remind everybody, in the second half of these games against the Rams, the Seahawks have outscored the Rams 34-15. So if they don't get off to a slow start and they don't turn the ball over, they're going to win this game. They are the better team. Number 1 seeds in the conference championship are 21-5 straight up since 2006 and 5-1 at anything under a field goal. And when you look at those teams who are indoor teams coming out on the road, 20-31 against the spread, 39%. And LA, the Rams specifically, are 0-2 in those spots. And then if you look at indoor teams playing in the conference championship, 0-15 straight up. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks. I know Sam Darnold has this oblique injury, but I think he's kind of playing possum a little bit. They're going to be able to get it done. Seattle Seahawks go back to the Super Bowl.
Raheem makes a very compelling case for the Seattle Seahawks, but I'm here to tell you, not so fast, buddy boy, not so fast. I will be on the other end of this game. And to me, it boils down to a simple fact. Yes, the Rams did not play a great game in Carolina. Yes, the Rams at times did not play particularly well and looked sluggish, dealing with the elements of what presented them in Chicago. But you know what I know about the Rams? They're resilient, they're tough, and they found a way. You're getting a division team that they know full well, a defense that they have now seen twice. And here's the simple question you got to ask yourself if you're a bettor. Do you really want to bet against Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford when they can smell it, when they can taste it, when they are one win away from the Super Bowl, I'm going to take the coach. That is as good as it gets in the NFL at the moment. That's Mr. McVay. I'm taking a quarterback who's going to be the MVP and is on his way to winning his second Super Bowl. And Sam Darnold, seeing the ghost, going up against the team that absolutely humiliated him and embarrassed him in the postseason a year ago. I don't want to be walking into, I bet on Sam Darnold with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. I'm passing on that opportunity, Sal. I'm taking the Rams. This might be my future talking. I don't care. They have moved the ball on the Seattle team in Seattle. You throw in no Charbonnet. You throw in a beat-up offensive line for the Seahawks. Ram. They went outright.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not being as bold as you are here. I'm taking the 2.5 points. And I know it's our job, but it really is hard to yell and scream about either of these games. I wouldn't be surprised if both came down to like who screwed up the second drive of the fourth quarter. But I would be surprised if after all favorites won last week, all 4 favorites, 5 if you include Indiana, that it's going to be a chalky Sunday once again. My experience is that the gambling gods aren't so giving 2 weeks in a row this time of year. So aside from that, I think there's just too much love given to the Seahawks and especially their defense. Everyone wants to look at their last 6 weeks, and they coincidentally stop at 6 because 7 weeks ago, the Rams had their way with them. Stafford, 457 passing yards against this incredible Seahawks defense. And I'm not saying we're going to see a repeat performance. I also don't think we're going to see a repeat performance of that 4-interception game we saw from Darnold against the Rams in November. But let's recap. Stafford versus Seattle, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Sam Darnold versus the Rams, 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So I think it's going to be close. I just like McVay like you do, JJ, in this situation to pull out the close game like he has the last 2 weeks, back against the wall at Carolina. Easily could have been shook by that Caleb Williams, whatever the F that was last week. But they won 2 close road games, and I think they take a third. They're 6-1 against the spread the last 7 in Seattle. 26-23 Rams. The thicker kicker gets it done for me and all other tubby football junkies out there. Take LA plus the 2.5.
Peace out. You didn't tell me to laugh, but that was funny.
No, never again. Never
There you go. There you go. If I can change, you can change. Everybody can change. Look, little debate here, House. Sal and I on the Rams, Raheem on Seattle. To me, this game script, if Seattle is going to win this game, their defense is going to flex. They're going to look like the much better team. I think if you like Seattle, you could get on board with some alt spreads. This game's close. There's no way in the world I trust Sam Darnold more than Matthew Stafford. But we kind of let you either join with Dream, join with us, maybe split the baby. How do you look at Rams Seattle?
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the coward's way out here. I'm not biting down hard on either one of these sides. We could have done a full 90-minute show of trends and inside the trenches and all kinds of breakdown of just this game. And I think across the board, this panel would all agree these are the 2 best football teams remaining in this tournament. And it's phenomenal that we get this game really to decide who the NFC is going to send to the Super Bowl. I already have a ticket on the NFC winning the Super Bowl. So I'm okay with whatever outcome, but we have a 1-point outcome and a 2-point outcome. The Rams getting 8.5 is one way I knew. When I saw that line at 2.5, it's like, this is a perfect teaser leg. But the problem is I don't love the numbers where you put it with any of the totals that are likely to come. Like if you try to put it with over 40.5, because 41 is a key number, you don't get anywhere with it. So I wanted to try and find something where you could get a price around minus 110 to minus 115. By lo and behold, Matthew Stafford passing yards, all he has to do is beat Sam Darnold. If you put that together with the Rams plus 8.5, we're right at the minus 115. I mean, McVay has gone 3-0 in the playoffs when he gets to face a team for the 3rd time. Over these past 3 seasons, McVay offenses have averaged 28 points against McDonald's defenses. Cousin Sal made the case about the success that Stafford has had. The one team that Seattle hasn't had a defensive game plan to completely choke the life out of them is the Rams. So I'm just grabbing all those points. A kind of teaser leg with the Rams, plus Stafford to beat Darnold in passing yards. That gets me to the price I was after, minus 115, and that's how I'm playing it.
I'm with it, Joe House. And, you know, Sal, I thought long and hard about this game. And I know Seattle looks super dominant from Jump Street. Literally, that game against the Niners was over the minute Shaheed returned the kick. It was game, set, match. The Niners, with their injuries, they just were not physically ready to go and take on a team like the Seahawks. I look at the Rams. Despite the fact that their games were close, I feel like they have been building to this moment basically all season long.
Yeah, and also, like, if you look at Sam Darnold, right, comes off the oblique injury. They had a rest. They had a bye. He really didn't play any meaningful quarters in a long, long time, right? Because, like you said, that kick return, the game was over. If not for then, that botched fourth down play with the fullback option. So Sam Darnold really didn't have to do anything. Kenneth Walker had an out-of-body experience, and the defense was great. But let's see, Sam Darnold could be a little shaky in a big moment here.
Dream, because you're on Seattle, I'm curious to hear your take on this. To me, the pathway for Seattle is a margin victory. Their defense is overwhelming. Matthew Stafford gets beat up. And we're not in a situation where Sam Darnold has to win a close game. Are you going to be nervous as someone that bets Seattle if this game is tight with like 5 minutes to go?
No, because I think he's already proved it. They were down 16 with 6 minutes to go and came back and won.
They did get a punt return and a wacky two-point play. Weird game,
They still had to pull it off in overtime, and they got the 2-point conversion. And if you watch the Rams in this postseason, the defense, like Bryce Young had that game won. Like Bryce Young had the game won.
But he didn't.
If DJ Moore doesn't, just lollygags on his route, Caleb Williams probably wins that game. So I'm not scared of this Rams defense. I could regret this. I know I can, but ultimately the Rams defense has to show up, and they got to prove it to me because this team, they've been on the road for 7 out of their last 9 games. Like, this team is like, we know how valuable the bye is. And then they basically got another bye last week by playing a 49ers team, which is in the hospital. So to me, I just think Seattle could win this game by margin. They could win it by 3. I just think Seattle's the better team, and they're at home. So I got to take them.
I know that somebody's taking a victory lap on Monday's East Coast Buy Show. That's for sure.
Here's the concern I have is that, this reminds me of a couple years ago when the Ravens came into the playoffs. They got to host the Texans, or I don't remember, maybe they were on the road. They beat the crap out of the Texans. The game wasn't close. And then they hosted the Chiefs. Chiefs came in, and it was an entirely different class, an entirely different kind of football. Like, we don't have precedent for the Rams, a team like the Rams, arriving in the conference championship, having failed to cover the 2 previous games. That hasn't happened before. But I don't love this Sam Darnold situation. We have no idea whether or not that oblique really is going to factor into it because there was no test of that against the Niners. And this Charles Cross thing, whatever's going on the offensive line with Seattle, if he is out for any extended portion of this game, I'm worried. So I just, I'm trying to play this as safe as possible. Give me as many points as possible. This is going to be a close one no matter what, to my way of thinking.
Well, we wish you well. And Raheem, we duke it out, and may the best man win. We shall see. See, I was duking out with Sal earlier. Now I'm duking out with Raheem. Does that mean House is next? I don't know. It might be a feisty. House. This is what happens, Sal, when I get snowed in and I'm bunkered down doing the show from home. I'm picking fights with everybody.
The walls are closing in. We got you.
Man. I understand. Well, I always love spending Thursdays with Raheem and our gal, Ariel Epstein, the prop queen. So, prop queen, this is your time to shine. It's playoff time. We're going to spend a lot more of our hard-earned American dollars betting on props because we don't have as many sides to choose from. Please give us a winner.
What's up, guys? It's been a bit since I've been on this show, so thanks again for having me. I'm the prop queen, Ariel Epstein. NFC Championship game tonight with the Rams at the Seahawks. Seahawks laying 2.5. Of course, I have a prop for you guys. My favorite prop's the revenge angle. We're going with the wide receiver Cooper Kupp over his longest reception. It's 15.5. Yet in home games against teams that are bottom 10 against wide receivers, Kupp is averaging just about 18 receiving yards per longest catch. We're going to take his over against the Rams D that is ranked 10th in receiving yards allowed to wide receivers. 59% of wide receivers have gone over their longest reception prop when facing the Rams. The revenge spot, Cooper Kupp at home in Seattle against his former team, the Los Angeles Rams, is going to have a big catch for at least 16 yards tonight. Thanks, guys, for having me back. Hopefully I gave you guys a winner and you'll have me on for the Super Bowl.
Thanks, Prop Queen. Speaking of Cooper Kupp, House, that's the player you want to target.
Yeah, I like being on the right side of the prop queen. Let there be no doubt. So I am playing Cooper Kupp, just a simple yardage over. 29.5 this morning, and he was targeted 6 times in the divisional round. I love the revenge angle here. All 5 passes that were thrown to him, and with the slot kind of position, that's something that the Rams, you can leverage that a little bit. So he had 39 yards in their Week 16 meeting. I like Cooper Kupp in that slot right over the middle. Darnold getting to him, not having to exert too much effort here, and only 2 catches. If the prop queen is right, I can get to my 30, no problem.
Okay, we wish you well on that. I know in the Ringer 107 we got on board with Cooper Kupp. We'd like to bring that baby home. Raheem, Sal, just the thought of Ringer 107 just put a knot in your stomach.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I really wasn't trying to poke fun.
No, it's okay. It's all right. Yeah, I was just going to vomit off camera. Go ahead. Go to Raheem. Yeah.
All right, we will go to Raheem. Raheem receiving prop, Raheem. No revenge angle for you, but you got a winner, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm going with Terrence Ferguson over 14.5 receiving yards. Terrence Ferguson, for those of you who haven't really been paying attention, he's basically the Deshaun Jackson of tight ends. And what I mean by that is that he's completely boom or bust. You look at last week, he had 5 targets, but he only had 1 reception for 19 yards. So he went over this on 1 catch. And so basically, he's not getting a lot of catches, but when he gets catches, I mean, they're going for very long distances. So you look at what he's done this season. He only has 12 catches this season, and like most of them going for 18 yards. So he's gone over this in three straight games, including 5 out of his last 6. He's been seeing the field a little bit more. Very boomer bust tight end, but I think one or 2 catches is going to get you there. So 14.5 receiving yards is good. And then also, if you really want to get frisky and you feel like playing the lottery today, I think you could play some escalators. I think you could play him over, 25.5, over 30, over 35.5, because we know he's going to get these long receptions. So if you want to do that, that's fine. But 14.5 is, I think that should be easy. You should get that on 1 catch.
So I don't know if during Raheem's diatribe there, you were able to go and get yourself a Tums or Pepto-Bismol because we mentioned the Ringer 107. But this, to me, is actually a very soothing and comforting thought as someone that bet the Los Angeles Rams. It's a player prop that kind of coincides with betting the Rams.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it simple here. Sam Darnold to throw an interception. I said earlier I didn't think he was going to throw 4 interceptions like he did against the Rams back in, I think it was November. I do think he's going to throw 1. I still feel like this is a high-pressure situation that may be tough for him to navigate. Last week, not a great indicator of how unfazed he is under the bright lights. San Francisco lost that game in the first 6 seconds. The Rams have forced 4 interceptions in the playoffs. They've stolen a pass in 4 of the last 5 games. And don't forget, 6 from Darnold this year. Heavy juice at 146, but worth it in the end. We're going to be talking about the oblique again midway through the second quarter. That's when it's going to happen. Sam Darnold, INT, minus 146.
All right, I like the sound of that. Speaking of laying juice with one of these player props, that's what I'm going to do with Colby Parkinson, who has become not even a secret weapon. I think it's a pretty obvious weapon. If you've watched these playoff games or if you've watched the Rams down the stretch, over the last few weeks, he's been that much more involved in the offense, where Devontae Adams is not 100% right. Teams are all dialed in on Puka Nacua, and it means that the tight ends, Parkinson and Higbee, can get involved in the proceedings. So we're going to take Colby Parkinson, 3+ receptions. You might get cute and bet him the score. You might want to get on board with his receiving yards, but we're going to lay the juice on this. Not going to get cute. We just want a winner for the Ringer Sunday pregame. And that's a winner. He's going to have 3+ receptions in this game. Now, gentlemen, there are specials for the Rams and the Seahawks that we can get to. And, Raheem, I shouldn't even be surprised. You gave us 1 kicker prop. Why not another?
Yeah, I'm going to go with each team to score 2+ made field goals in both championship games. It's plus 700. You guys know I like these kicker props, especially in the playoffs, because drives tend to stall out a little bit more. The defenses are better. I already have the Denver Broncos 2+ made field goals. I think maybe I said the Broncos defense is a little bit overrated, but maybe they can get the Patriots to stall out twice, kick some field goals. And then in this second game, we already know the Seahawks have a dominant defense. and Sean McVay, he can kind of get conservative and kick a field goal. And then we know the Seahawks, they're going to kick some field goals. So plus 700 on this, I think it's good value. So let's play the lottery here.
Nothing wrong with playing the lottery at plus 700. Sal, you have already given us one quarterback to throw an interception, but we might as well get frisky. It's going to be that kind of championship Sunday. All four?
Well, listen, this one covers both games. All four quarterbacks have thrown an interception at plus 600. Why not? 4 games last week, we saw 12 interceptions. The quarterback play was subpar. And I like Darnold to throwing up for grabs. I already locked that one in. Stafford, I think he pulls it out, but it could take him a minute to warm up. And Seattle has forced a pick in 6 of their last 7 games. Drake May has thrown one to the other team in 4 of his last 6, now up against arguably the number 1 defense or number 2 in the league. And Jarrett Stidham is Jarrett Stidham last time I checked. So a duck by each starting quarterback pays plus 600 in the championship specials tab. I'll help you find it. If you need my assistance, just text me. It's right there.
So I had a hard time
this one.
finding
I'm going
one.
to need your assistance.
All right, good.
Help our boy out. Take care of it. Hopefully it ends up coming home to roost. I had trouble finding one I really liked for this game. So I looked at Championship Sunday and I said, okay, what offensive mind and what quarterback do I trust the most? Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. So I'm not giving you plus 600. Sorry, Sal, I couldn't find one. So I'm just going to take the Rams to go and be the highest scoring team at plus 2 and change. Plus 260, still decent payout. If you get a virtuoso signature performance from Stafford and McVay, this could easily come home to roost. Highest scoring team. You got a 1-in-4 shot. Let's take it with the guy who's probably going to be the league's MVP. Now, House, Super Bowl exactas didn't treat me kindly because I was all on board with that Ram-Texan one that I was pimping for weeks. I felt so good about getting into the divisional round, and then I had to sit there and watch C.J. Stroud last Sunday. So hopefully you, sir, will have better luck on a Super Bowl exacta than I did. But what's the exacta?
Yeah, I'm trying to get out ahead of things a little bit here because if New England handles their business against Denver, this price will be long gone. I am playing the LA Rams to beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, plus 420. I assure you that it is pure coincidence that 420 is the number, even though, David Cole says that I look like the target audience for a Subaru commercial. There is some symbiosis there between the Subaru commercials and the plus 420 number. I can't make the connection, but maybe our audience can.
I love it. Speaking of our YouTube comments, which you can obviously get on board with, interact, we have all sorts of fun there. We have poll results for this Seahawks-Ram game. Sal, you want to guess what the poll results are for the people with Seahawks-Rams spread at 2.5?
I'll say it's in line with the 2.5. 53-47 Seattle.
Close, very close. 59% of the YouTube audience who is voting in our poll has sided with our guy, Raheem.
Wow.
So I'm a little surprised by that. I thought we'd have a little bit more love for the Rams. House, I'll let you guess. New England, Denver, not nearly as equal.
I bet the people like New England. The number
you are correct.
Settled.
You want to throw a number out there?
Percentage-wise?
Yeah, percentage.
Well,
correct.
it's a public play, so it'll be north of 60%.
You are correct. Raheem, you want to guess the exact number?
I already saw it, so I'm not going to spoil it.
There you go. I'll give it to you. All right. Raheem is a man of honor because he already saw the results. 66% of our YouTube poll likes New England. So, Joe House, you might have a future in this. Just saying, man. I know you right now. You got Fairway rolling. You got this beautiful, beautiful gig at the Ringer. You got your gig that you've been doing for years. But, hey, if you want to get into the boardroom and start making lines, maybe this is your calling card.
I don't know if I can make it into the boardroom. Another commenter just said that I look like I'm ready to get into the half pipe, and I'm glad that he didn't say hash pipe. But we're just trying to push through here.
Hey, you said it, not me. That's all I'm going to say. You said it, not me. Speaking of beautiful, lovely, delightful sights, I had a family meal last night. My daughter made an absolute mess. It was a thing of beauty. You get the meatballs, the pizza. My wife feeds her anything. I'm stunned an 8-month-old can eat some of the stuff that she eats. It was a prettier sight than the family meals we have put together throughout the course of this season. But we're running out of time. We only got 2 left. We've been the kings of coming up 3 out of 4. Not last week. Last week was an unmitigated disaster. But let's get in the kitchen. Let's get messy this week. You know, it's been neat. It's been tight. Hell with that. Let's get messy and hit on Championship Sunday family meal. Hit the damn music. Now, let's get messy. I want food all over my face at the end of this one. What's our contribution to the family meal?
I mean, us going 4 for 4 has proven to be a daunting task, even more daunting than teaching JJ about comedy. But let's try it here. RJ Harvey. I'm going red Jell-O as the dish here, JJ. We're still doing this. I can't believe it. I spent 20 minutes researching foods with the initials RJ, and all I can come up with is red Jell-O. And frankly, that's about all we deserve here. I like this one, though. Rookie out of UCF, 12 touchdowns this season, 7 rushing, 5 receiving. I would think his workload would increase. Only 11 touches last week. I think he's closer to 19 or 20, which is he was getting towards the end of the year. Now that the Broncos will likely be more run dependent. Could see a pass interference in the end zone to make this interesting. RJ Harvey runs it in from the 1, gets us on board, plus 135.
Okay. RJ Harvey to score. Raheem, you're really trying to juice this baby up. Give me the anytime.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Terrence Ferguson. I mean, we already gave you the Terrence Ferguson prop earlier on. We're going to do it again because he's boomer bust. Like I said, Deshaun Jackson of tight ends. You can get this plus 650 on an anytime touchdown. My producer recommended some sashimi, but that's not me. I'm a pancake guy. I haven't had breakfast yet, so I'm going to go home, make some pancakes, some sausage, maybe some eggs, scramble it, put some ketchup on it, and get busy.
Is sashimi a combination of sashimi and pastrami?
Yeah.
What is sashimi?
Oh, thinly sliced pastrami. We're going sashimi.
I told you we would get messy in this
Let's
family
go.
meal, boys.
That's
I
true.
told you. Anything's possible. Joe House, speaking of anything being possible, 2 weeks ago, Hunter Henry cashed a first touchdown bet for me. Tried getting and going down that road a week ago. Not as successful. That is the guy we're looking to score his second postseason touchdown in 3 games.
Yeah, JJ, you talked about trying to get this meal all over your face. I don't know if you want these Boston baked beans all over your face, and I can't promise which end they're coming out of. But we do know which end Hunter Henry's coming out of, and that is the touchdown end. 3 of the last 5 games, he's caught a touchdown. He is the red zone target for Drake May. He is the safety blanket for Drake May. He has the most receiving touchdowns for the New England Patriots. And if Denver is indeed going to blitz Drake May the way we anticipate, then we're going to have Henry in one-on-one situations. And we just saw Dalton Kincaid go ahead and tear up the middle. Both Kincaid and Knox. Honestly, Knox should have had a touchdown too. Kincaid did get one, though the Buffalo Bills tight ends. And the Broncos have not been great against tight ends, especially over the middle of the field. So let me have Hunter Henry at plus 200.
All right, I like the sound of it, House. Now, Devontae Adams has not treated me well in these first 2 playoff games. He's looked a step slow. He has not looked like the same guy we saw from before the injury. But Devontae Adams was brought to the Rams for this exact moment. NFC title game against the Seattle Seahawks. Go score, big boy. That's my contribution. The chicken Caesar wrap, where the Caesar sauce is probably all over the sides of my face and the croutons are stuck in my teeth. And that's going to be the last leg of our second to last family meal of the 2025 NFL season. Let's take a look at what the boys put together, and let's see the payout. RJ Harvey at plus 135. Hunter Henry at plus 200. Terrence Ferguson juicing this baby up at plus 650. And then Devontae Adams at plus 130. Sal, you want to read those odds for me?
I wish I could, but 11,489, that would cover 3 years worth of losses, I think.
By the way, I know some of you don't like the family meal. I've gotten a couple of Instagram messages on this. I've gotten a couple of tweets. You guys got to retire the family meal. It never wins. Blah, blah, blah. The family meal is not going anywhere because when we do hit it, the 4 of us are going to be the most insufferable people on the planet. Like, I'm going to tweet it out like every hour throughout that Sunday. So maybe it will be today. Hey, Raheem, maybe I could go scorched earth, burner account, JJ. That will be me. I'm not a burner account guy. Actually, I don't even need a burner account. I'll just do it from my real account. I'm just going to retweet family meal, family meal, family meal, and say, suck on that.
I feel you. I would love to see odds on when we're going to hit one of these.
Maybe FanDuel can put that together. But we will keep trying, and we will keep swinging. You know that, House. I'm going to keep swinging on these. We keep swinging on these until we hit one.
Yeah, because if we hit this one, it pays for 2 years worth. So we're just going to keep swinging.
Sal, I promise when I am finishing up my podcast, when I'm finishing up some television, and I get tidy and I put on Netflix and I listen to you gloat over the Denver Broncos beating the New England Patriots, I will be laughing quite a bit at a lot of the pre-planned material that you tell me to laugh at. I promise.
That'll be great. And if the Patriots do win, why don't you just sub in for me since you're used to not laughing? It'd be a great time to just jump in. It'd be perfect.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that. You were contractually obligated
I love you
from our friends
guys.
at
I love
Netflix
you.
and the Ringer
Let's
to be
do
there with
this.
Mr. Simmons.
Let's do this again in 2 weeks, and then we'll take like a 7-month break and we'll be back at it.
Oh, you had to do it. See, now.
I know.
Oh, my God.
I know.
What a bummer. Sally, good stuff. We'll see you Sunday night with Simmons, all right?
See you,
When we
fellas.
come back, Anthony Dabbundo, who's been Mr. Seahawk all year. Is he going to be Mr. Seahawk? We'll find out. Coming up next.
Do you trust him? Do you trust their run game? Is this going to be close enough where he's going to have to make some plays? Is it going to be a blowout where we're going to be like, oh, the Seahawks are in the Super Bowl and Sam Darnold hasn't really had to do that much in the playoffs? Where are you with that aspect of this game?
There's no Sam Darnold game that would shock me, right? I just can't the thing about Sam is that he is more than even the other inconsistent quarterbacks. He is so mercurial, right? Like when Sam is good, he is ripping tight windows with unbelievable accuracy and he fears nothing and he's seeing it fast. And then the moment he gets got by a coverage rotation and he throws a tipped ball pick, wasn't even that badly his fault. He is just down, right? Nobody vacillates in inside of a game like Sam. The 2 games he's played against the Rams, which is obviously a defense that terrifies him. I'm not much one for this guy's got that guy's number, the psychology, the heuristic aspect of it all. But Sam's clearly terrified of Chris Shula and Jared Verse in this Rams defense. We have enough data now to say it. In the 2 games where he's, he found the passing game more in week 16, but in both games, he started playing better once, you're kind of down 11, down 16, fourth quarter. It's kind of all right, if I throw another pick, no one will be mad. They'll be mad about the first 4, but the 5th one, who cares? So, it worries me that the only time I've seen good Sam against the Rams is when it's kind of whatever, and the chips are down. Yeah. I have no idea how I would approach this game if I'm Clint Kubiak. I know the running game is dramatically improved, and you should test the Rams' run defense, and you're running the ball better out of 12 personnel, and that's all well and good. But if my number one objective is to get Sam confident so I can get good Sam faster, then I would want to start the game with rhythm throws. And that's what he did in week 16. It didn't go great. He's just not a consistent quarterback. So it's very, it's a complete mystery to me. I really don't know what I expect from Sam Darnold. The 3rd game this season, 4th game in the last 12 months against Chris Shula. You should have answers by now as a quarterback. I just don't know if he does.
You mentioned the run game. We'll come back to Darnold in a second, but do you trust? I can't get a handle on this run game. When it's going, I'm they look unstoppable. Man, they're ripping off explosives with Ken Walker, and then you look at it statistically, and it's it hasn't been that great. And then I was looking before this pod, I'm well, maybe the last month has been really good. No, the last month has still been kind of up and down, depending what week you look at it. Do you trust them? Any reason to any prediction? Do you think they're going to be able to run the football in this game, or is this a classic? Let's do a great job of analysis and just say, yeah, we don't really know. We'll watch the game on Sunday and get back to you.
I think they played the Niners twice. I think right. Okay. That's the reason why we feel better about it is kind of a little bit of the defense that they faced and obviously the context, because those were still really.
Home stretch, Ringer Sunday pregame. John Jastremski from Snowden, New York City. Joe House auditioning to be a part of the Grateful Dead reunion. Looking great. Looking spiffy. Raheem the Dream Palmer. Raheem, I got my Polar Bear sweatshirt on. We can see yours. We can't really see. Oh, there we go. There's my bear.
Oh, damn. I didn't even know you had it. Damn, you got a rep. You know what? Sit on a pillow or something.
It's too much work, dude. Too much work. I had to get the studio set up. This is not my comfort zone for a Sunday. Speaking of cozy, Anthony Dabbundo, welcome in. You look cozy. As a man who appreciates meteorology and weather, did you like my weather update I gave on the socials?
I did. I appreciated it. I think I have watched more local news today than I have in probably the last 3 years combined, tuning in to see the weather reports from around the region, all of those brave reporters standing out with their faces beat red. It's really an exhilarating experience. And I had to flip over to some Weather Channel to get on the action. I even saw that Scott Van Pelt was talking about being a weather weenie on his podcast,
you guys
which is amazing.
Disturbing.
We're
Can
everywhere.
I mention, and my wife gives me a lot of crap for this house because myself and my mother-in-law are big-time weather people. I am, and you know why, running in golf. So, like, I want to know, okay, when is it going to be nice to run? When is it going to be nice to golf? Got to make sure that I'm in line with the weather forecast. So, you know, we spend plenty of time in the household talking weather, but the snow with Dabbundo, he takes it to another level, dude. My goodness.
Well, yes, here's the opportunity for both us and for everybody that watches. The prediction markets now are loaded with weather props, weather opportunities. We have the Snowbundo sitting right here. He's been doing this for years. He didn't know that the prediction markets were going to arrive in 2025 and 2026 with these enormous opportunities. He's been preparing his whole life, JJ. We have the man sitting here right now. Let's try and make some money.
It's like the scene in Social Network when Eduardo Saverin says he made hundreds of thousands of dollars, using weather futures to trade oil in a summer. That would have been me if I were like 30% smarter than I actually am. Maybe 300% smarter.
I think you're pretty darn smart, but there's always opportunities for future endeavors. Let's just say that, AD. Okay, let's get to these championship games. We'll start with the AFC game. We know the storyline. Nick's out. Stidham in. Line was as high as 5.5. It is now down to 3.5. Totals around 43.5. Stidham going to cover this game. Stidham going to win this game. How are you going to play Patriots and Broncos?
Well, I'm not going to bore everybody by making the same talking point about Bo Nix, Jared Stidham, the downgrade, all that stuff. I like Denver anyway. And at 3.5, it's a little bit harder to make the case because I do think 3 is probably a fair number. But we saw all week, 4.5, 5.5. The reality is, for me, I'm more worried about New England's offense against this Denver pass rush. Denver's second in the league in pressure rate this year. They were really effective at getting to the quarterback consistently. And we've seen Drake May. He's had a lot of time in the pocket this year. He's had a lot of success throwing the ball down the field. They face the easiest schedule of opposing defenses. So it's very easy to say, yes, New England will have success downfield. But against this coverage unit, against this pass rush, after he put the ball on the floor 5 times in 2 games against the Texans and the Chargers, I'm a little bit dubious of the Patriots' offense in this game because I don't think they're a consistent enough running game. We saw last week, Buffalo ran it up the middle, had a lot of success running the ball. I think you can run on Denver, but I don't think New England's a great run offense to take advantage of that. So that settles into New England's offense having some issues, consistently scoring and pushing the ball down the field, potentially the risk of another May turnover too, take some sacks potentially. And I think that does enough to keep this game close, where Denver, with their very quarterback-friendly offensive scheme, can do enough to hide Stidham and his limitations.
Does that put you in a direction of siding with the under in this matchup?
It would, yes. I do think we see both teams come out a little more conservative. I mean, Denver this year has actually been one of the higher pass rate teams. If you go by pass rate over expected, they threw the ball more than you would expect for a team that had a very inconsistent passing game. And then New England, if you are the Patriots in this matchup and you're playing a backup quarterback, there is an element of, okay, can we avoid turnovers? Should we take fewer chances? Big game Vrabel, we know he's loving to punt from the 45 of the opponent. So all of that factors into potentially liking the under here. Really, New England went way under in the first game, probably should have gone under in the second game, if not for all of the turnovers, giving them so many short fields, both sides. So I think the under is the play I'd look here. I know the market's taken over money, but I don't really agree with it.
It is crazy, House. For people that are in the gambling space, and we deal with, obviously, everybody here at Ringer Gambling, are you surprised there's been as much love for the Broncos as there's been? Because, I'm a little surprised. Like, I understand, like, the Patriots are the public side. Raheem is calling Denver the fake sharp game of the year, of the century, of the millennium, whatever we're calling it. I am surprised, House, that it's been that unanimous among people who, quote unquote, do this and talk about this. The unity we've seen with the Broncos.
Again, I really think that all of us got swayed by the crazy number that opened, and we had to spend the whole week talking about how in the hell can you lay 5.5 with the Patriots. You have a second-year quarterback playing his first 2 playoff games, and he was not very good in either one of those playoff games. Did just enough to help his team get across the goal line. He's traveling, and they're going up against the best offensive line that they've encountered. So it's a tough handicap, and I understand exactly why Sharp is coming in here, but the unknown of Stidham, I don't want to be on the side of watching this guy come out and throw. Who is it? What was the game that Jake Browning? Yeah, Jake Browning and the Bengals coming into Denver, and it was over in the first two drives. He was afraid to get hit, and he's completely lost. Now maybe it's not fair to compare Jake Browning to Jarrett Stidham, but who the hell knows? Who knows? The Bengals had all week with that enormous advantage at the wide receiver position and came out and threw up all over themselves. Maybe it's unfair to compare the Bengals to the Patriots. I get it. I mean, to the Broncos, but I understand sort of why the sentiment went the direction that it did.
Okay, AD, new quarterback for the Broncos. That means you almost have to reset the prop market as far as who he's going to be throwing the ball to. I made the case earlier in the show. Hey, a lot of time with the second team guys, little Jordan Humphreys. I've seen some people in my life make the case for Mims because it's like, hey, you throw to the guy in practice, all of a sudden he gets more burn, he gets more opportunities, and Christian Gonzalez more than likely is going to be matched up with Cortland Sutton for a good majority of the game. You're looking to take advantage of this. It's not a name we've mentioned yet, though. So who's it going to be?
I will say I do like the Mims rushing over 2.5. Sal and I took that in the Ringer 107. We were discussing that on Thursday and then on the Friday show with Heifetz. And I think a lot of that has to come down to them trying to get more creative with their offense to try to scheme up some stuff that could work. It's very hard to run into the teeth of the Denver defense, the New England defense, but you can get some success on the edges, try to get their linebackers exploited. So Mims is interesting there. But as far as this game, my other favorite prop is going to be Evan Ingram over 19.5 receiving yards. And again, it's picking on the same area weakness that I think exists in this New England defense. They have been pretty good at covering outside receivers this year. Some of that is schedule-based. Again, every conversation we have about the Patriots kind of starts with the schedule. But I think the key here is just their linebackers not covering space very well. And they haven't played any top tight ends in these playoffs because Schultz got hurt so early in that game. The Chargers couldn't protect long enough to get the ball consistently down the field, and Herbert was missing the dudes that were open. So I think ultimately Ingram has a pretty favorable matchup here. New England just average against tight ends this year in terms of yards, so not like it's a huge schematic edge. I just think it's a personnel edge for the Broncos. Ingram will be heavily involved. Could see a lot of like bootleg stuff where he's open in the flat kind of situations.
I like the sound of that, and you need that security blankie. Tight end more than likely ends up being that guy. Raheem, would you play, just thinking about this game, and you like New England, would you play alternate spreads with the Patriots?
If I wanted to play a lottery ticket, yeah, I would definitely do that. But I think the 3.5 is just a good number. Like I love the number, and I just think the Patriots should be able to win this by 7 or so. That's what I'm thinking. But I'd rather just lay the 3.5.
Okay. Patriots by 3 and everybody wins, right? Anybody, I think it's a Broncos podcast, and then
no, Raheem would not win. He's got
Raheem's on New England.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he was on New England.
All right,
Laid on with the Patriots because Raheem, to be fair on this, AD was not in the Patriot camp earlier in the week, but I think the line moving the way that it has gotten to a point of extreme for you, Raheem. Is that it?
It's some of that, but then as I did more research, I think one of the things that I realized is that the Patriots have overperformed the market all season long. And I think sometimes there's things within the market that just don't capture how well a team is playing and how good they are. And I think we saw the same thing with the Chicago Bears for the last 9 weeks of the season. And I think we're seeing that with the Patriots all season long. And at some point, you have to just tell yourself, you know what? I'm not going to step in front of this train. I recognize the market is just not reading this properly, so I'm gonna ride with the Patriots. And I think I've had success when I have done that. Unfortunately, I didn't have success last week with the Texans, and I didn't have success maybe the week before with the Chargers. But for the most part, I found myself on the Patriots, and I'm ready to jump back on that ride.
And we know the Bears went down dying heroes, so we'll see if the Patriots can follow that script, whether it's in the AFC title game where they have to win, and then in a Super Bowl where they will be underdogs no matter who they play between Seattle and the Rams. And that, Mr. Dabbundo, is a perfect transition because you have been one of the leaders of the Seattle Seahawks fan club. You like them preseason. You've bet them quite a bit throughout the regular season. Now, here we are, NFC title game. Third time we're seeing these teams match up. First game, Rams got dominated, still won the game because Darnold threw a bunch of interceptions. Game 2, Rams were the better team. A lot of wacky things went against them. Special teams touchdown, 2-point play, overtime, everything that comes with it. It's the rubber match, buddy boy. Rams, Seahawks, 2.5. Who's going to the Super Bowl?
Man, I have gone back and forth on this game so many times this week. Back and forth and back and forth. And I think I lean with the Rams. I think this should be closer to 1.5. I don't think there's much of a difference between these two teams. However, I am fascinated by the fear that I have, the monster hiding under the bed, which is just that this Rams special teams unit is so bad. And they're so unreliable. And they're so problematic in these games where you just don't know if it's going to play a role or not. But if it does, you're sitting there holding a Rams bet that you're not feeling too great about come the third, fourth quarter when they can't get a punt off or they get a field goal block or Shaheed makes a huge difference. So the reason I decided to ultimately side with LA with the 2.5 is just the trust factor. The trust factor in the two guys that have been there before, in McVay and Stafford, and the ability of a great offense that's executing really well to still beat a great defense. And I think that will be the difference in this game. If Darnold gets into a trailing game state late, I don't trust that offense just enough. And I do, think it's notable that McVay has played against this McDonald defense many times now in the last few years. And McVay's had success. You go back to 2023 when he was with the Ravens, McVay put up 31 points in a loss. You go back to just earlier this year, Stafford had arguably the best game of his season in that loss. So I'm going with the Rams. I don't love it. It's not my favorite bet of the year, but just a little bit for me on LA.
How much of the handicap 2 AD questions about that offensive line for Seattle? House was all over Charles Cross. I think Charbonnet, I know we minimized the running back position, but when you don't have a whole lot of skill players that scare you, Charbonnet's played a big role in the season. He's done for the year. Did that kind of also push you in a Ram direction?
Yeah, I mean, the Rams are much healthier for this game than they were for the game in the regular season as well. I mean, they were shorthanded in that game. Forbes, we'll see how healthy he is. I know he left early last week. He comes back, the corner for the Rams. I think they can mitigate the loss of Charbonnet. I thought Schrager made an interesting point on the Bill pod this week when he said that they're going to miss him in pass protection. Will the Rams dial up extra pressure to force a potential mistake from Darnold? Because we haven't seen Darnold under any real pressure the last few weeks, right? He looked so great in the game against San Francisco and then in the second game against San Francisco. But that's one of the worst pass rushes in the NFL. I don't know that we've seen him face a truly great pass rush in a while. You go back, they played the Panthers, Falcons are okay. He struggled in that game. So I think you can kind of maybe not get a little too carried away by Darnold having a ton of success against some bad pass rushes. He's going to see a much better one in this game.
Okay. Kobe Parkinson. This is where we get simpatico, Anthony Dabbundo. I'm all over him today. I bet he's over for receptions. I got him in yards. I'm going to sprinkle and bet him to score a touchdown. You getting on the Parkinson train?
I am. Seattle plays a lot of too high. They don't really like to roll down the other safety into the box. I know that Eamon Worry sometimes picks up some tight end assignments too, and he struggles a little bit in coverage. And we even saw the Niners a little bit in the first game, try to go after him a little bit in coverage, had some success with it. The Rams had a ton of success targeting their tight ends against this Seattle defense. Seattle's defense, so good in so many phases. Elite against the run, elite against running backs, pretty good against outside receivers. They do give up a lot of yards to tight ends. Top 6 in the league this year in yards allowed per game to tight ends. I think that opens up an opportunity for Parkinson to have a big game. I imagine he gets split out wide a couple times. They like to throw that back shoulder fade to him, especially the first touchdown they scored against the Panthers came that way. I think that's a key element for the Rams to try to keep this ball moving against a really tough defense.
AD, I thought about Higbee as well, because I feel like these tight ends, so much attention to Nakua. Adams a little bit beat up. Maybe we could get Parkinson and Higbee home to the window.
Yeah, I guess the question is just how much do the Rams actually play all of their tight ends, right? Because the 13 personnel that everybody made all that commentary about, we haven't seen it as much the last few weeks, but could they break it out again in the red zone? That's the fun chess match of this. Mike McDonald even commented. He's like, we played some different stuff last time in the last meeting. Didn't work. What kind of wrinkles will we see from McVay and McDonald, these two offensive and defensive masterminds? For my money, the best offensive and defensive play callers in the league going at it. I can't wait.
I can't wait, too. Let's take a look at the Ringer 107, where Raheem and I basically stuck in the middle in third place. You got the Ringer NFL and the fantasy guys, Sheil, and then Heifetz, DK, and Craig. They're mano-y-mano. They're together on Seattle. They're heads up on Denver, New England. What was your pick for the Ringer 107, curiously?
On that card?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You're pot committed to it. There should be a side contest now between your team.
I like Seattle. We agreed on Seattle.
I like a side competition now, Dabbundo, between your team and House's team. This 4th place. There should be a little something on the line.
Well, we did have to go in a bit of a tailspin to get down into the basement with House and Simmons. So now there's only one elevator back up, and it only goes back to the ground floor. We're just trying to avoid dead last. That's all.
Yeah, I get it, Raheem. I kind of think we're happy to be in third at this point. It's not great, but it's not last. It's like it is what it is. It's stuck in the middle.
It definitely is. I mean, I'm not tripping.
That a boy. You won your wise wager. Why would you be? I hope everybody enjoys Championship Sunday. Let's hope it delivers.
Before we go.
We got 20 seconds. It better be quick.
Parlay the Minnesota Timberwolves on the money line with your favorite NFL bet. The Minnesota Timberwolves are not losing this game today.
There you go. That's all you need to know. A guarantee from Raheem. A parting thought. House, Dabbundo, Raheem, JJ signing off. Enjoy the football. Be good, everybody.